basically put on a list, and then you don't work. Trust me, you don't work, and you keep applying for jobs that now I don't have much of an excuse because they've trashed the economy so bad. They're like 1 in 5 is unemployed now. But so you don't support your family, so you lose your house, you lose your car, you lose your family. There's a Texas political science professor that said that whistleblowers, you lose all your friends, you can't get a job, you spend a fortune in legal bills. That's free to me. I can always argue in court at no cost. I take an interest in it. It's a good hobby, but everybody else would have to pay through the nose in legal bills, and then at the end, just like the Valerie Plame case, it gets thrown out, and you can't really explain the reasons why it got, because it's not really based on law, and then you're lucky to have a job. And those are the.
Well, let me ask you something. You've been disbarred. Can you work as a pro se? Are you allowed to?
Pro se people don't work. You're doing it for yourself, if that's the Latin term. You would think that I have a wonderful set of skills that make me an excellent paralegal, but I could probably only be a paralegal in 2 states. One's Florida and maybe Illinois. And then there'd be some doubts about whether I could even have any contact with the client. So I explored that. I thought, well, I could translate my education and my experience pretty effectively to be employable, but that's where
Are you attempting to get your law license back?
No one has ever gotten it back in Kansas. And you can't get it in another state because usually another state knows the real reason why you're disbarred. So, in other words, they have some corruption that they're pretty uncomfortable with in their state, so they really don't want an honest attorney in their state practicing law, somebody that can be controlled. So that seems to be the problem, and as I check with other people going down this route, that tends to be what happens. Most states have some kind of a formal statement, so you could check your own state to see if your state's participating in this. California, I think, actually has a statute that says if you've been disbarred in another state, you can't practice law in California. So,
so right now it's an uphill battle.
I see what David Price is doing in Kansas right now, and it dominates the media. But I really don't. I don't think the solution's in courts. We were at the best in our industry, Cessna and Boeing, and I could look around and see what was holding us back. And I thought, well, these are all laws being broken. Certainly, you could solve that in court. I don't think that you can win in court unless you can win outside of court. And you gotta respect judges and courts. They don't have a police force. They don't have an army. They only get to put stuff in writing themselves. So if you really haven't brought society to that point, like the civil rights struggle, it took generations, and to get America itself ready to accept, desegregation. You couldn't have won, and that was the Kansas court and the Missouri court, both that were the original trial courts and what became that set of civil rights cases that became Brown versus Board of Education, but that changed pretty much America as we know it. But you can't get there unless you can win outside of court. So you have to concentrate, like this radio show, your media and people that be active politically. My party, the Republican Party, is concentrating a lot on emphasizing who gets selected for office based on the kind of judges that they would help to nominate. I think I can see the Democrat Party now suddenly having the reins and not really sure what their plan is. So basically, do you think that public awareness and public pressure
on these entities and agencies is going to be one of the keys in the possible turnaround.
Yeah, I think it even has to come first. I think courts there's lots of conspiracy theories or ways of explaining how outcomes are obtained in courts, but I think that they pretty accurately reflect where the power is in the country and what the power is organized behind. So, I'm sitting here in the middle of a very sparsely populated state, Kansas, and I got 6-lane highways going to nowhere that don't make any sense unless you're looking at the 35 corridor and this North American Union and all the infrastructure that, the people running for Congress deny is happening. So it's when you look at where the power is and what they're trying to accomplish, you can see that's pretty much what gets reflected in courts and certainly in our universities and pretty much when you look at our monopoly media, newspapers tend to be one publishing company that owns like a radio station or TV and a newspaper in one major city. And you tend to look at that and what they tend to be biased toward, and you can see it's something other than what we were taught government is or public policy was in school, and it's something else.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to cut you short. We're going to go on a short break. This is Freedom Fighters for America Radio, and we'll be right back. Freedom Fighters Radio is on www.freedomfightersforamerica.com. We expose crime and corruption. Welcome back, ladies. This is Freedom Fighters for America Radio. We have with us tonight Mr. Stu Webb, and we have on there. I apologize. I really didn't down here.
And they're really cutting us in and out here, Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting at myself. Hello?
A little bit of an issue. Yeah. So anyway, Brett, as you were saying, so infrastructure that is slowly turning into this one world global government, and the court system also seems to be geared towards that now, where there's more of a monopoly and manipulation.
Yeah, I pretty much think it's a standard rule of thumb that government and large corporations can do no wrong. We tend to glorify, the David versus Goliath battle, but in reality, even the smallest governmental unit is almost always right, no matter how terrible a violation of the Constitution that